All right, we got some important stuff down there. I have a mentorship program that's not for everybody. It's $25,000. And I have a series of questions to see if you're a good fit. Email me and I'll send you the questions. Now, a program that is for everybody, the King program, $3,000 one and done, or you can get on the payment plan and pay $200 per month. That link's below. Plus, there's some new channels and other stuff. All right, so let's get into today's video. Be sure to watch this video from the beginning to the end because there's going to be a lot of jewels in here. Today's topic, the fake player vibe. While most men who call themselves players are actually liars. So this is something that I no longer do because I'm going to explain to you why I no longer do it. The management of multiple women, it's energy. It's a lot of energy to manage multiple women, all right? So this time I've actually put together, how? I have no clue. But essentially, I put together pictures of the women in an album that I was dating, make it easier to show because there we are. So that's the album, and I'm gonna have to get rid of some of this stuff because it doesn't make any sense in it. But all right, let's go ahead and talk about the fake player vibe. The average man who considers himself a player is a liar because he's dating multiple women and he's hiding his phone. He's not telling the women he's dating all the women. He's just doing his thing, and he's like, I'm a player, man. No, you're a liar. Alan Roger Curry and I had this conversation. Now, let me discuss my player situation. And I'm going to go, it's going to be much easier. Let's see. All right. That's one of them. She doesn't look her age. She's much older than you think she is. But that was one. And actually, there's us again, me hanging out with her. And this is another one that was on the same team. And the third. Now, this woman and this woman knew that I was dating multiple women. And it was just like, oh yeah, you're not the only one I'm dating. And then this was I was so freaking cocky. I was like, oh, I'm fucking all three of y'all. And the first one, she's the one that got the most aggressive. She got angry when I told her, right? And she actually punched me in my chest. She's like, what does this other woman have that I don't have? I don't like this. And that's when the competitive nature came out because I told her I was dating the other two women, and she did not say, I don't want to date you anymore. She didn't. She started to level up her game. We were already having good sex. It went to another fucking level. Right? And then when I told her, she was like, I knew that. That was her thing. Latina, she's like, I knew you were dating other women. And then she said, I don't really care. And I said, why don't you care? She says, when you meet with me, you treat me nice. You show up on time. You do everything you say you're going to do. I really don't care. We have fun. And she said, no, I'm not dating anyone else. And this is something she said that kind of blew my mind. She said, to date you and know you're dating other women, compared to the other men I'm dating, you are a freaking 10. And she listed out, like, I would take her on these really nice dates. And when I was with her, I was with her. I'm not the type to be on my phone. And she just said, I knew it. It's like, a man like you ain't going to just have one woman. And this one, oh my God, the story with that was freaking hilarity right there. Because it was like, just letting you know, I'm dating other women. And This is what I told her. I said, I don't want you to date anyone else. And then she was like, how the hell is that supposed to work? You could date other people, but I'm supposed to only date you? I said, yep. I was like, okay, let's do it like this. How many men can you find like me? And she said that would be difficult. That would be difficult because she had ran into some problems, and I was able, she had, let's see, what was her issue? She got laid off, and she had made a big debt payment, and she didn't know she was getting laid off. And she got a severance package, and she was about month 3 of her severance package, so she hadn't found another job, and she was about to be late on her rent. And her rent was cheap. It was like $1,500 a month. And I was over there, and she's like, oh my God. So I just gave her $5,000. I gave her enough for rent and gave her some extra cash. I was like, here, pull cash money out of my pocket. Boom, here you go. And she looked at me, she said, thank you. She didn't even ask. She just presented her problem and I solved it, right? And then at this point, she had moved on. She had gotten another job. And she was sitting there like, she said, you're the first man that I had. Her exact words, you were the first man that I indicated that I had a need and you instantly solved it. She said, it would be really, really hard for me to find another man like you. I would say, all right, so how hard would it be for me to find another one of you? Then she just went, fuck. To find another blonde, beautiful, it would be easy. It would be easy. And I was like, okay, so this is what we're talking about. Finding another one of me is going to be very, very difficult. Finding another one I can snap my fingers and have another one of you. And that's why you can't date anyone else. If you don't like that, we can just end this and I can move on. She said, no. I understand my role. I understand my position. I was cocky as shit back then. I was telling women, yeah, I'm fucking other women, and no, you can't fuck anyone else. And I was getting away with that shit. Why? Economics. I keep screaming, economics. It allowed me to do that. And she took this picture the day that I told her. The day that I told her I was dating other women. That's when she took this picture. And she sent it to me, and that night I went over and fucked the shit out of her. So I was dating 3 women that knew I was dating other women. And no, we didn't get together and none of that shit. It's like I would spend time with this one, I would spend time with this one. Let's talk about why I no longer do that. To have multiple relationships mean that you must manage multiple relationships. You cannot have a girl over here and just go fuck her whenever you want to unless she's a bottom bitch. That's going to be a whole nother video. We're going to title this one, The Bottom Bitch Video. That's going to be wild. Typically, unless she's a bottom bitch, you just can't. You must, each one of these women, I would take out. I would, take on trips. I spent time with them. And managing 3 women takes a lot of fucking time. And I got to the point, now, I'm just one person, and I have only a certain amount of energy. So I can use that energy to date multiple women, or I can use that energy to build multiple businesses. So I choose to build multiple businesses. I've not done the 3-woman thing in about 4 years. For the last 4 years, I've been only dating 1 woman at a time. Because the management, you got to manage these relationships. You just cannot just show up and drop your dick. The bottom bitch video is going to be crazy. But typically, Alan Roger Curry and I had this conversation. The average man who pretends to be a player, he does it through subterfuge, he does it through lying, he does it through a facade. He does not sit down and go, oh yeah, I'm fucking this other woman and you. The average man doesn't do that. You want to know why? The average man can't get away with it. Many women, once they realize that you're seeing multiple women and they don't want to be part of that, or you will run into a super whore. She'll be like, "Whew, you're fucking a lot of people. I'm gonna fuck a lot of people. We both fucking a lot of people." And this is when you run into the issue with potentially getting sexual diseases. That was my biggest fear, and that was one of the reasons I was like, yeah, I'm fucking multiple women, but I'm being safe. I've been tested and all this other stuff. But you, and this is the thing, women, let's have the condom conversation. I've had women literally talk about, you're not fucking me without a condom, right? I was like, okay, I'll throw a condom on. That's the first time. 2, 3 more times after that, condom goes out the window. It never gets brought up again. I remember this one chick, she's like, you gonna fuck me without a condom? So put the condom on and everything. And next time we're messing around, got her nice, juicy, and wet, and I just jumped between her legs, slid it. She didn't say a word. So a lot of people out here are not fucking with condoms. And I want you to think about that. I had what I call a safe circle. I had women that were not super whores, and that's going to be a video. Super whores are probably the most dangerous women to mess with. The super whore dynamic. They're pretty much the most dangerous women you can mess with. Super whores. I'll do a whole video about that. But typically, I just don't date multiple women because of the time of commitment. Now, you're dating like 2 women or something, that's easier. But the more layers you add on, the more management responsibilities that you have. So if you're dating like 5 women, your management, like I dated 5 at one point, and my life was half my life was managing the women. Half my life was spent managing, calling, texting, checking up on them. It's just too much fucking work for me. It's just too much work. So I rather just date one woman, devote all my time and energy to her, and then devote the rest of my life to building businesses. But the average man who considers himself a player is a liar. He's not telling the women, he's not being honest, he's not being upfront, and as Alan would say, he ain't a player. He's a liar. And this is one of the things, because a lot of people feel, back in the day, this was a common tactic. You remember Bartles and James, those wine coolers? Back in the day, it was common for a guy to get a girl over to his place and get her drunk and have sex with her. It was common. And that ain't really cool because, a woman is inebriated. She may be willing, she may not. I'll tell you a story. I was in the military, and there was this girl who I did not realize, because I was still young, I was still kind of dumb. I didn't realize this girl was a stud. She kind of had the look, but she had a nice body. She had a big old juicy booty, nice titties, right? So I went in the room, and I make a move on her, and I get her naked. And she's got this weird ass look on her face. And, I'm just sitting there like, the vibe was just off. It was just off. And I looked at her, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to my room. So I just left, right? Then it gets out, a word gets out that I had her in her room naked, and that, she didn't want to do anything, and I had left. And all my boys was like, man, you did the right thing. Bitch will get your ass put in jail. You did the right thing by just leaving, right? And then, she went, and then later on, she came up and she said, look, this was the early 90s, homosexuality isn't what it was today. And she's like, I want you to know I like girls. And I was like, oh. She said, I like you too. And she says, it's a little weird because I like you and I almost had sex with you, but I like girls. And then we had this weird conversation. We went to lunch, and then we started talking and stuff. And she says, I'm a virgin. And we were still really young. I think I was like, this was like 1988. So I was 3 years out of high school. So I was maybe 21. and she was, I think, 20. And then, and we had these conversations, and she's like, I just like girls. And I said, you ever been with a girl? She said, no. You ever been with a dude? She said, no. I've been with nobody. And she said, I'm just really curious and everything. So we're in the room just chilling. Then she stands up and she takes off her clothes, and she said, at least I want to try it. If I'm going to have sex with a man, at least I like you. I hit that shit. It was good too. Oh my God. I don't know if she's still a dyke, but man, that was some good pussy. That was, because it was like she had this stud look, but when she got sexual, she got very feminine and she was very vocal, and it was just like, so one of the things that you got to understand is women need to give you permission. They need to really be in it. You need to be 100% sure. This whole getting a woman high, getting her drunk, that's how your ass can catch some charges. Because a woman sits back and reflects like, I really didn't want to do it. Because this is the thing. You really want to have sex with a woman who really wants to have sex with you. If it ain't like that, you can get in trouble. And I've never been charged, or I've never had those issues. And it was just weird how that whole thing went down. But yeah, I mean, the average man who's coming out here talking about he's a fucking player, he ain't a player. He's a fucking liar. It takes courage, discipline, and being able to pull off dating multiple women and having them know that they're not the only one. And also, I would say, from my skill sets, to be able to date multiple women and to be able to get away with it and have these women fuck other men is special. It's special. All right, so below, I got the book. I made sure the book is down there on how to date the woman you'll marry. It's $50. It's a guide, man. It's a guide that could set you up for the rest of your life. The link's below. All right, so I'll talk to you guys in the next one.